Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, a whole food plant based culinary coach, and master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods that help you achieve optimal health. And so today we are talking about our herbal first aid and wellness kit and herbs that we always keep on hand. It's really hard to narrow it down to five, but there's five that we definitely always have on hand, and then there's some that we like to have on hand as well. For anything that just happens to pop up, we don't really like to use herbs that way, and so we'll talk about that as well because in the way we see it, in the doctor world, the conventional medical world, you have an injury, you don't feel good, and you go and you ask the doctor to give you something to help you with that. Well, we do have to use herbs for things like that every now and then, but we prefer to reverse whatever's going on. Like, why do you have that pain? Now, obviously, if you drop a knife on your foot and cut your foot, well, the cause was you dropped the knife on your foot and cut your foot. But we don't want to just help with the pain. We want to help with the healing of that injury as well and make sure your body's getting all of the nutrients to heal correctly, to reduce scarring and increase blood flow and healing, as well as alleviating pain. So today I'll get into it. I will stop jabbering on because I know that you're here to talk about our top five herbs. So Dan, I want you to give us the number one herb.
Oh yes, the master herb cayenne pepper is at the top of the list because well, the herb alone has a lot of properties, but cayenne also makes your other herbs work better because it increases circulation. If you notice, almost all of Dr. Christopher's formulas have cayenne pepper in them.
Yes.
And so a lot of people it doesn't make sense to them, but the reason he does that is so the cayenne helps the circulation, it helps the other herbs get to where they need to go.
Yes.
And I never ever underestimate the power of cayenne pepper. I've had experience with it with clients,
Mhm.
and you know, I want to talk about blood pressure really fast. I've had two clients in the past that came to me for blood pressure.
Mhm.
Dr. Christopher's blood circulation formula, okay? It has cayenne pepper, ginger, garlic, ginseng. It works really good for blood pressure. I had a guy, he lowered his 30 points on that formula. I couldn't believe he lowered it that much on that formula, but he did.
Uh-huh. And how long was he on that formula?
He's still on it, but it took him maybe 2 weeks.
Mm.
He was also on the hawthorn berry syrup, which we'll talk about today. He was on the syrup and he was on a beetroot powder. So I can't say it was all the circulation formula, but it definitely plays a big part.
Yes.
Um,
Before we keep going, I do want to give a little medical disclaimer. I should have given that in the beginning. So this podcast is for educational purposes only. When we talk about these herbs, we are not telling you to use them. We are not diagnosing, treating, or prescribing. We are teaching and educating. We are educators. Please do your own due diligence before deciding which herbs are right for you. Okay, so tell us more about cayenne, which is definitely one of our favorites. And another thing, if you're new to us, we both went to the School of Natural Healing, which is David Christopher's, not David, David Christopher is over it now, but we started with Dr. John Christopher. And then now David Christopher is over it, and we love that family. But those are fabulous, fabulous herbs and formulas.
well, cayenne, it has so many different properties. I mean, I have a list that's like, it's 10 miles long, but we'll go over a few. It's also a really good anti-inflammatory. And as we talk about, inflammation drives a lot of our modern diseases. So anything that we can do to decrease our inflammation is going to help us stay healthier. But I've had people, or there's other people that their hands and feet get cold. You have people like that.
Yeah.
Kind helps with that. It can help with that. It helps with digestion.
Mhm.
And I've never used it for this, but I hear if somebody goes into shock, it can bring them out of shock because it's such a stimulating herb. It
Yeah.
also, when you take cayenne pepper, your circulation immediately improves. It's like an immediate effect. And of course, we talked about the medical disclaimer, but Dr. John Christopher said that he had about 50 patients that were having heart attacks, and he would give them cayenne pepper and hot water, and it would stop the heart attack within, I think it was 30 seconds or a minute, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was really fast. It was really fast.
Because
Yeah.
it's actually a clot buster. And I looked for years to find that. I wanted to know. It sounds like to me maybe it's a clot buster. And I found an old book somewhere, and it did state that cayenne pepper is a clot buster. How
Yeah.
much you have to use, I don't know.
Hmm.
But see, and then there's a study in South America. People that live there have less strokes and heart attacks than Americans do. And they did a study and they linked it to their daily uh, consumption of hot peppers in their food.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that's amazing. So I wonder, you said that was South America, so I'm wondering, like I think Jamaica when I think of
yeah,
spicy food too.
probably
Yeah, so
so.
it'd be interesting to see. But they do eat a lot of pork in Jamaica as well. Um, so I wanted to say something else about that too. So cayenne is wonderful for circulation, but it also stops bleeding. And so, like he said, the list goes on and on and on. And so it's one that I keep on hand. So Dr. Schultz, we also learned a lot with Dr. Schultz, one of our very favorite teachers. We love Dr. Schultz. He said to always keep like cayenne tincture on hand for like shock, drop in blood pressure, or if someone would have a heart attack, medical disclaimer still. But I also keep the powder in my kitchen because A, I live on a farm and it's easy to get cut, but it stops bleeding. And so, like, if I cut my hand with a knife, or my husband cuts his hand with a tool outside, then we just immediately put cayenne pepper on it. And you go, wait, that would burn. It might sting for a minute. You're already cut, there's already a sting, and but it stops bleeding right away. And so, and it's provides lots and lots of vitamin C and other nutrients to help with healing too. So if we have a cut out on the farm, in the kitchen, wherever, then you would just immediately just pile on some cayenne pepper, stick a bandage over it, and then check it later after it has started to close.
I'm really glad you brought that up because it reminds me of a story. There was a nurse and she learned about cayenne pepper. I think she learned about it from the school we went to. And her husband, he was having internal hemorrhage in his lungs,
Oh.
which is very serious. I mean, a lot of times you die from it.
Uh-huh.
But she started to give him cayenne pepper
Mhm.
and it stopped it.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, and
when
then
your
I've
life's
heard,
on the line,
yeah, like, well, David also mentioned how it's great for like ulcers. And so I'm
yes.
thinking for like leaky gut and things like that. So most of my clients have autoimmune disease, which is strongly connected to leaky gut. And also, sometimes when people have liver disease, they have nosebleeds. Nosebleeds can be very frequent, and with other illnesses as well. But drinking a glass of water with some cayenne in it can help stop nosebleeds as well.
And in a world where we still, heart disease is still the number one killer, I think everybody should have cayenne on hand. I mean, I take it. I mean, I'm a healthy guy. I exercise a lot. I take the blood syrup formula almost every day because you just never know. You
Right.
want to do everything you can to keep your heart and your arteries healthy because how many miles are 60,000 miles of arteries we have? I think it's something like that.
I remember, but it's a lot. Yeah.
So you have a lot there to keep healthy. So anything you can do, I would do it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so cayenne is definitely one of our favorites. I was gonna say something else about it, but not, it's lost. I've lost it. I lost it. It might come back to me before we wrap up. So
Well,
our second herb that I always have on hand is lavender, especially because I live on a farm. So for us, we use lavender for bug bites. So usually lavender essential oil. So a lavender essential oil is one of the only ones that you can put directly on your skin. You don't have to have a carrier oil or anything. And so if you get into like a bed of ants or something like that, it is fabulous at soothing it. It's very anti-inflammatory. It's helpful for minor burns and skin conditions as well. You could make a lavender tea and dip a cloth in it and then put that over a burn or a rash or bug bites or anything like that. If it's a severe burn, get medical attention, please. Um, and then it's also very calming. And so we use a lot of lavender in our bedtime teas as well.
That's why we use it for mostly because, as you know, I have a lot. I had some problems in the past with my nerves,
Yes.
and there's a study I talked about on another podcast where they actually used lavender in a study, and they were comparing it to some anti-anxiety med. I can't remember, but
Hmm.
it actually performed just as well as the anti-anxiety med. So that's pretty
Wow.
powerful.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah. So I love lavender. So that's definitely one that I always keep on hand.
Scar, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. The next one that I always have on hand is calendula. I call it my liquid gold. So I grow it, but then I also harvest it to make calendula oil. I put it in teas, all sorts of things. So it's this bright yellow color, very high in beta carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A, which we need for immune health, for gut health, for our whole mucosal system, for the lungs, for the nasal passages, for the mouth, the esophagus, the intestines, stomach, all of that. So it's very soothing. It's mucilaginous as well. It's beautiful. So just to look at it, it's beautiful. Putting a whole flower in your tea looks beautiful as well. But it's wonderful for rashes. And I found it. So my children, my oldest is 26 now. But my children, when they were little, if they would ever have diaper rash, we had a fabulous doctor who used herbs first. And he said, you need calendula oil. And so we would, if they had diaper rash, we'd put calendula oil on, and it, like an hour later, they didn't even have diaper rash. And so I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I started using it, that long ago, and then started growing my own and making my own oils. If you purchase a calendula oil, read the ingredients. That's always my number one rule. If it's a food, if it's an item you're putting on your body, always, always, always read the ingredients. It should be clean calendula and oil. So nothing else. So that's why I make my own. Sometimes it's hard to find a nice clean one, but it's wonderful for wound healing. It's safe even if it's open. Rashes, eczema, any kind of skin inflammation, and our skin is a reflection of what's going on the inside of the body. So if we have a rash, something going on the outside, that's going on the inside as well. And so drinking it as part of a tea, maybe not calendula tea on its own, but combining it with other teas can be wonderful. My favorite is marshmallow, which is not listed on our top five today, but that's another one that goes really well with that. But it's helps with tissue repair. It helps with calming the irritated digestive lining if you have autoimmune disease, which most of my clients do. Helps with healing that, but it also helps with moving lymph, and so that's why it's one of my very favorites. I always say it's my favorite, but then something else will pop in my head and I'll go, oh, wait, that's my favorite. But like I said, I grow it, I use it, I call it my liquid gold. I love calendula.
Next one is garlic. Garlic is, I think, it's one of the herbs that if you told me I could only have one herb, it would be between cayenne pepper and garlic.
Yes.
Because garlic is another herb that is really good for the cardio system. It helps lower your cholesterol. It can help with blood pressure control. But also, on the flip side, it's an immune booster. It's actually antibacterial. I've used it for myself if I had flu or colds, and it does speed up recovery. It kills bugs.
Mm.
Well, but I mean, bacteria. And it's even antiviral, I think. Is that
Yes, it
correct?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a secret there. If you're using it for these things, it works best when it's raw and crushed.
Yes. Yes, you want the allicin enzymes to combine. And it usually takes about 15 minutes. So if you crush the garlic and let it sit for about 15 minutes before you use it, that's best. But we use it to, I mean, I have bulbs on in the middle of my countertop always. And we not only do we use it in our food, when we cook it, you kind of lose those medicinal qualities. But you could cook something and then you could finely grate some, get one of those little graters and grate raw garlic on top. Put raw garlic in a salad dressing, things like that. If we're making something like a pizza, Dan and I both are gluten free, and we don't like to eat processed foods, but we'll make a pizza out of, lentils or cauliflower, something like that. We'll rub the edges with cut a garlic clove in half, crush it, cut it, and then rub the edges with that. So you have like a quote unquote garlic bread, and that way it's raw, and so that's going to be a functional food. You're going to get those benefits. But we even, I think I told you this, like if my husband feels like he's kind of sick, so my husband, we have the farm, but he has a part-time job where he's usually alone. He keeps garlic cloves in his truck. And so if he feels like he's getting sick, he'll crush a clove, let it sit for a few minutes, break it in half, and swallow it like pills. And so his car usually smells like an Italian restaurant. Use garlic that often. So, like you said, so great for the heart, great for immune system, but also all those anti-inflammatory properties, but antimicrobial as well.
There's actually a study showing that the garlic supplement can lower blood pressure up to 8 points systolic.
Wow.
And in the study, they used 600 to 1,500 milligrams of garlic extract a day.
Hmm.
China is one of their first lines for blood pressure control.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
amazing.
an amazing herb. It is
Yeah.
amazing. I love it. You
Well,
can grow it. It grows easy too. You grow it.
we don't. We did 1 year, but um, for our farm, we usually grow things that we can get a lot of.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with garlic, I mean, it's great if you're growing it just for you, and we could
yeah,
just grow it for us, right?
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and then I wanted to say too, it's also in like at the School of Natural Healing in our strep throat formula. And I know for me, if my kids ever felt like they were getting strep throat, we would make that strep throat formula, which it does have garlic and the cayenne that we already mentioned as well. Cayenne brings the circulation to the area, the garlic knocks it out. And so I'm not telling you that not to get medical advice if you have strep throat, but I am telling you that we were successful with that.
Well, speaking of the heart, the next one is hawthorn.
And I know that's your favorite. Well,
It
not
is
all.
my favorite because
Okay. They all
I
are.
tell this. You know what?
I said they all are.
The story about the little dog. Now he's deceased now, but my mom had a little Chihuahua. He had heart failure. Bottom of his heart was failing. I started giving him hawthorn and cayenne pepper. We take him back to the vet, the same vet. 3 years later, he listened to the dog's heart. He looked like he was shocked. He's like, "What? Did you give him that heart medicine I told you about?" She's like, "No." He looked really puzzled. Of course, I didn't tell him what we gave him because I don't know if he would, but he should have believed if I would have told him. But basically, it helped that dog's heart pump normal again. And then we go back to Dr. Schultz when he had heart problems. And he was able to cure his with a lot of hawthorn and a lot of cayenne pepper. He
Yeah.
had like I think 3 bad valves. He was going to die.
And
He
he
was
had
able to heal
the
his
surgery.
valves.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He needed surgery. He healed it naturally with a lot of juices and a lot of hawthorn and a lot of cayenne pepper and exercise. A good routine that we would talk about.
Hmm.
But it actually increases the strength of your heart. See, it increases the pumping ability of your heart. It helps your circulation. It helps keep your arteries healthy. I remember, and Schultz talked about it. There was a study where they gave dogs hawthorn berry, and then they induced heart attacks in the dogs, which is very, very cruel.
Yeah.
But what they found was the dogs that got the hawthorn berry, their hearts were a lot less damaged than the dogs that didn't get the hawthorn berry. So if you have a heart attack, it helps protect your heart from damage. This is huge because it's supposed to bind to your heart cells, some of the hawthorn berry.
Uh-huh.
And it's on here about emotional heart health. I do hear that hawthorn can help when you're heartbroken, maybe over a death in the family or a breakup. I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
there is something called broken heart syndrome. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You hear about people who die right after their spouse or whatever, a broken
yeah.
heart. Mhm. Yeah. And there's other herbs that help with that as well, but hawthorn is one of them. Yeah, so we always have hawthorn. My husband drinks a hawthorn tea every single night. He has family members who were found dead. It's a lot of times the first sign of heart disease is death, and unfortunately, that is common in his family. And so, I mean, Hawthorne tea is he drinks every night.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's good. It tastes good too.
yeah, yeah, it does. Well, when we pair it with hibiscus and
Oh, yes.
motherwort, yeah, yeah. So other herbs that we can talk about on another. Well, we haven't talked about them on another episode. Yes. And so that was our five, but we decided we can't just limit it to five. And so our bonus was you talk about it because it was actually the one that popped up into your head, which I also grow this next one as well.
It's comfrey,
Yes.
and I use it mostly for injuries and arthritis. I have a client right now. She's been with me for over a year.
Mhm.
And when she came to me, she was in a lot of pain. She had degeneration in her spine, bad knees, bad neck. So I, recommended Dr. Christopher's complete bone and tissue. Although it doesn't have comfrey in it anymore because of the FDA, but it does have something called lungwort, which is a substitute for comfrey.
Mhm.
But comfrey has something called allantoin in it. That's a
Uh-huh.
chemical.
Yes.
It speeds up cellular division, which speeds up healing. And
Yes.
um, so think about if you have a joint strain or a muscle strain, maybe a tendon strain, something like that, bruises, it will help heal the speeding because, something like a tendon or a ligament, they heal slower. So this would be a really good remedy for that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Its a nickname is knit bone, and it
Yeah.
heals so quickly that if you put it on like a broken arm without having it set properly, the bone will heal quickly, but not appropriately. And so you want to make sure that if you are going to use it for something like broken bones, that you get it at least set first and then use the comfrey.
Yes, and Christopher said that will actually help the bone heal properly, like when it sets and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was a little bit of controversy there, which I want to talk about too. So the FDA said we can't use it, but all our other herbalists, so I've taken classes with Rosemary Gladstar as well, and they all love it. I mean, and I do as well. So I think it's allotonin, whatever. One of the extracts that they use, if you extract it and give it to someone in high doses, then that can lead to liver damage. If you use it appropriately in a tea or a tincture, not extracting that chemical, we're not seeing that. It's not showing up in the studies as a causing liver damage. So, as part of our medical disclaimer, we're not telling you to use or take comfrey. Do your own due diligence. But in many, many formulas, it is in our case, it has been seen to be okay to use.
Yeah, because you use it correctly. You use the herb as a whole. You don't extract things. That's a medical thing.
Yes. Yeah,
In
that's it.
fact, comfrey has been shown to actually help liver injuries. Okay.
Right, right. Yes,
So, they're always trying to scare people off from herbs for some reason. It's irritating.
right. Yeah, but I love comfrey and it grows really well. It's really great to be used as a fertilizer for your plants, so high in nutrition. And
Oh, yeah.
so I don't use it internally. As a matter of fact, we really only use it for like an injury externally.
Hmm.
But I'm sure given certain situations, there would be a time when I would use it internally. But I grow it, and if you can freeze it, like you can make like a comfrey tea or something like that, turn it into a salve, or freeze it into ice cubes. And then if you have an injury or something, then you can put that, on your skin, have it on hand for emergencies.
And good herbs to combine it with. There's one of the herbs is arnica. And arnica is definitely one they want to use, on topically. You don't ingest arnica, but it helps speed up bruises and sprains and muscle soreness. So you can pair it with comfrey.
Mm. And pain is really great for pain relief. Yeah, externally.
And then St. John's wort. A lot of us think of St. John's as for depression, but it's also a really good healer for injuries.
Yeah.
They used to use it to heal bruises and wounds from war. This is way back before we had all the other stuff we have now.
Mhm.
But it can be used in ointment as well. I mean, I make one that has it's a muscle rub. It has St. John's and it has arnica and calendula, and it works really good. I combine it with wintergreen and cayenne pepper, and it works really good. It
Wow,
helps
that
you heal
sounds
quicker.
wonderful. That's like a icy hot kind of thing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I use St. John's wort too for injuries, especially like so it's hard to find herbs that you can use for an open wound. And so like St. John's wort and calendula combined, that would be great. And like especially oil, calendula oil mixed with St. John's wort oil would be wonderful for healing damaged tissue. Yeah, those are
Well, that's
wonderful.
probably the end of our list. I mean, I could think of a lot more, but
No, we're
these are
keeping them.
some of the heavy hitters.
Yes, these are ones that are really important to get to know. So study these herbs, get to know these herbs. If you have the chance to see them physically, like St. John's wort, such an interesting plant. Arnica, beautiful flowers. That one we do externally. Comfrey, little tiny purple flowers. Calendula's beautiful. Calendula is so beautiful. They have yellow and orange, and so they're easy to grow, and they bloom for here. I'm in middle Georgia US, but they'll bloom in the spring and in the fall. And sometimes we have a better crop, quote. That's a bad word to use, but we produce a lot more in the fall than we do in the spring. But it's just one of those that's just beautiful. Have it inside your house, turn into medicines and things like that. So get to know these herbs, play around with them, don't be afraid of them, and reach out to us. We love to hear from you. So comment. Um, let us know how you've used herbs, if you would add something else to this list, if you were confused why we put something on our list, because we struggled with narrowing down the five as well. If you'd like to learn more about Dan, go to danthenaturalman.com. To find out more about me, I am at holisticgen.com, and I spell that with a W, holistic as in whole, our whole bodies. Anyway, we would love to hear from you. Subscribe to our channel, share it with someone that you know would like to learn more about herbs, and we will see you again next week.